As the Diddy trial is opening up, people keep making this all about Diddy rather than looking at everything that's happening around it. There's a lot of people that want to protect the Diddy agenda because it serves them, because allegedly they're all accomplices. Like I said last year, after the Cassie Diddy case was made public for the world to see on CNN.
If Kim Porter hadn't done what she done, there would be no Cassie to testify.
You know, Mr. Combs, SC and SC, thing one and thing two. They've been covering each other's ass for a long time, guys. Y'all don't see what's going on? The death of Angie Stone, Clive Davis, Diddy, Rock Nation on the verge of utter collapse. What happened to Tory? Find a way to blame it on him. Now all of a sudden he was trying to start a race. Just so happens that he gets half the day. As the Diddy trial is opening up.
Breathe for a second, because she just stormed into his trial and dropped some tapes that had the entire courtroom gasping in shock. These were not just any ordinary videos. They allegedly showed Diddy acting really inappropriate with Bryshere when he was just 17, and trust that Jaguar has been calling out Diddy about this for years, long before any arrest ever happened. She was not about to stay quiet now. Not when she has been shouting about what went down behind closed doors. For so long,
Feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists.
Now fast forward and Bryshere is out here on Twitter barely holding on, selling content on OAF just to survive. This man had real star potential. He could have been the next big thing in Hollywood, but Jaguar claims that Diddy and even Will Smith allegedly used him one after the other, and once they were done, they reportedly passed him around the industry like he meant nothing, cat. Williams was not lying when he said Diddy's parties are not just parties. You have to know when to say no, and if you are still in the dark about what really happened to Bryshere, then get ready. He was only 17 when he got placed into a so-called mentorship program with Diddy and Will Smith. But let's be honest, Jaguar Wright says it was never about mentorship at all.
Oh, bisexual, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bryshere Gray, left that house screaming. August, the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed a dog.
Bryshere's former manager, Charlie Mack, had big dreams for him. Diddy was supposed to guide his music journey, while Will was meant to help him rise in his acting career. But according to Jaguar, those promises were nothing more than smoke and mirrors. She says they used that mentorship label to allegedly exploit him behind the scenes, and by the time they were done, he was left completely broken, drained both mentally and spiritually. Jaguar first dropped this bombshell when she directly called out Diddy and Will for using these so-called mentorship programs as weapons. She did not hold back when she claimed that these programs were really just traps designed to lure young boys chasing fame, only to allegedly pull them into disturbing, behind-the-scenes, freak-off situations. And in one of the wildest stories she shared, she said things got so out of control one night that Bryce or Gray and Meek Mill were actually heard by Will Smith's neighbors screaming with no clothes on, running out of Will's house like they had just escaped something terrifying. No one knows for sure what exactly happened inside that house, but the word is that the freak-off had been going on for hours, and it got so extreme that they were reportedly drifting in and out of consciousness. That is how intense it became. And with Cassie recently coming forward saying her own freak-offs with Diddy sometimes lasted up to 4 days straight. This rumor did not sound far-fetched at all to many people.
You know, but when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
And this is where the story takes an even darker turn. Jaguar says that Bryshere was not the only one caught up in this twisted world. Meek Mill, too, was allegedly pulled into the same disturbing cycle. She claims that the people in power knew exactly what they were doing. They handpicked rising stars, made big promises, and then slowly broke them down until all they had left was silence. According to Jaguar, these young men were targeted not just for their talent, but also for their vulnerability. And once they were trapped, it was nearly impossible to escape every time someone tried to speak out or walk away. They were either silenced, blackballed, or something even worse, left mentally shattered. Jaguar even suggested that there were people working behind the scenes, keeping a close eye on these boys, making sure they stayed quiet and loyal no matter what.
One of the stars of the hit show Empire. Tonight we're seeing hours of new video from his July arrest that ended with his wife flagging down police and telling them the actor had her for hours inside their Goodyear home. The bizarre jailhouse interview lasting for 2 hours as they try to piece together a chaotic chain of events.
There are whispers going around about contracts that were not just about music or acting, but were really about control. And once those lines were crossed, there was no going back. Now here is where things get even messier. Terrence Howard, who acted alongside Bryce Gray on Empire when he was first introduced to Diddy, and Will recently made some cryptic comments about powerful people in the industry sleeping with young men in exchange for favors, and immediately people started connecting the dots. Many believe he was subtly calling out what really happened to Bryce. Because let's be honest, after Bryce left that so-called mentorship program, he was never the same. There was no true guidance, no real support. He simply vanished from the spotlight. Almost overnight, no major acting roles, no big career moves, just silence and then chaos. The next thing we heard was that Bryshere got tangled in legal trouble and violent behavior. In 2022, he was arrested and convicted for aggravated assault against a woman he was involved with. But that was not even the first time. Back in 2020, a disturbing story broke out. His wife had to literally run to a nearby gas station begging for help, and a stranger had to step in to protect her. That was when people even realized he was married. The situation with Bryshere kept spiraling downward. His ex told police that he had strangled her, and when officers showed up to arrest him, he refused to come out of the house. It got so serious that the SWAT team had to be called in, and they negotiated with him for hours before he finally surrendered. And when his mugshot was released, people were in complete shock. He looked totally broken, like a shell of the person he once was. And just when it seemed like things could not get any worse, Jaguar Wright reappeared, and this time she came with even more shocking claims about what Bryce allegedly endured at the hands of Diddy. And she doubled down on her story, saying that Charlie Mack was the one who originally connected Bryshere to certain powerful figures working behind the scenes, but then came the twist that left everybody speechless.
And when I say Andy, I'm talking about Bryshere's mom. I'm gonna kick you in your and I'm gonna go to work North Philly style. You and Charlie. You happy now? He's a gay star. Are you happy now, Andy? For a book that didn't sell? I hope that new husband of yours leaves you. And maybe it's time you tell your son why his father is really in jail, his biological father, for all of his life and what you had to do with it. You CI that came to me and begged me for my help. I told her to get the away from Charlie. I did everything that I could to get to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago safe to be ready for filming. She knew what Will did to him. Now, so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists.
Okay.
I really hope none of that baby oil was used on those kids. That would just be in bad taste. Baby oil on babies.
You can't say that the flavor cap was sponsored by Johnson & Johnson. You just come on. Come on.
Starting to sound that way, ain't it?
No.
All that talent, and she let Charlie tune that boy up, well, knowing that he was bipolar and had ADHD. What kind of mother would do that to her son? Turn him into a prostitute so you could pretend to be something more than what you are, which is nothing more than a filial. You're a big old and they're making your son out to be, that's for sure. Because he didn't have no choice. You was down by all. I'm sorry. The Bryshere conversation for me is not easy. Because I came to Belial and I asked Belial to help me save the kids, and all he was worried about was his book.
Jaguar claimed that Charlie could not have done any of it unless Bryshere's own mother, Andrea Mayberry, had allowed it to happen. Yes, Jaguar flat out said that Bryce's mom was involved too and that she allegedly let everything unfold. Jaguar did not. Hold back, she went on to claim that right after Cassie filed her explosive lawsuit, Bryshere Gray was preparing to do the same. He was allegedly building a massive legal case against both Will Smith and Diddy. But just as the conversations with his lawyers started gaining momentum, he reportedly had to back out. The reason, according to Jaguar, was that his life was allegedly in danger. That is how serious things had become. And then Jaguar made another shocking claim. She said, "There is a secret. Tape out there showing a freak-off involving Justin Bieber, Will Smith, Jaden Smith, Diddy, and Bryshere." And even more unbelievable, Jaguar says she is actually one of the very few people who have seen it when people started digging into her claims. They connected Jaguar's story to a rumored $50 million lawsuit that Bryshere was supposedly working on. The first hint of this case came from a blind item that sent shockwaves across the industry. It read, "I suspect the soon-to-step-forward male." Victim of this, a list mogul will not be the last man to do so. Sean Diddy Combs. And regarding those explosive tapes that Jaguar brought into Diddy's trial, the word is they were never played in court, but she did manage to hand them directly to the prosecutors.
I do believe there's going to be a lot of curveballs. I do believe there's going to be a lot of interesting things. And what I will say is, be vigilant. We're getting started.
Is this a reckoning for the music industry?
Oh, it needs to be. And if it wasn't, I hope my presence starts that.
Reports say that prosecutors are actively working to subpoena Bryshere so he can come in and testify against Diddy officially on the record, and now the spotlight is back on Bryshere Gray, and everyone is wondering, will he finally speak out, or has he been scared into silence like so many others caught in this twisted game? Sources close to the case say that prosecutors are pushing hard to get him on the stand, especially with the kind of footage that Jaguar handed over. But there is still one big problem, and that is Bryce's mental state. Insiders say he has been unstable for years. Some blame the deep trauma he went through, while others say he has been heavily medicated just to keep himself calm and with all the pressure surrounding this trial. Many are worried that he might not even be in the right frame of mind to testify. But if he does take the stand, it could change everything. Jaguar, on the other hand, is making it very clear that she is not backing down. She has already said that what the public knows right now is just the tip of the iceberg. She claims there are more tapes, more victims, and even bigger names involved, and let us not forget, Diddy's camp is still working around the clock, trying to silence anyone. Connected to these serious allegations, but with new witnesses coming forward and the internet lighting up, this might be one scandal that even Diddy cannot buy his way out of. Right before stepping into that courtroom, Jaguar was spotted outside. And baby, she was not alone. She pulled up deep with her own security team bodyguards flanking her from all sides, ready for whatever might come. Word is, she came fully prepared in case Diddy's people tried anything, and honestly, with how loudly she has been speaking out about this case, there is no way his inner circle did not recognize her on sight, and you already know they were not happy to see her show up.
That happened in the R. Kelly case, because if that had been properly addressed, this would have been addressed back then. These people have been working together, all in cahoots for all of this time, and it needs to all be addressed. I'm glad it's not just me anymore. I'm glad it's someone else. I'm glad there are other people who need to be heard. I'll be sure. I'm glad they're hearing him, Cassie. I'm glad they're hearing her, Kim Porter, through I'll be sure. I'm glad. Natanya Rubin, I'm glad. All of these things. So yeah, it's mixed emotions, but I just know when you pray for something and God answers it, you should be happy.
Jaguar has made it clear that Diddy's fall is not just about him. She says once he goes down, it will trigger a collapse for everyone hiding in the darkest corners of Hollywood, and she is not stopping until every single one of them is dragged into the light. She even slammed the authorities, saying that Diddy could have been exposed years ago if they had taken the R. Kelly case seriously, according to Jaguar. If investigators had really connected the dots back then, they would have realized that Diddy was allegedly running the same kind of game. It's wild that it took Cassie's lawsuit to finally get the system to pay attention to Diddy. And once they did, within weeks, investigators started uncovering layers of dark secrets that should have come out years ago, and of course, people are speaking out. One comment said, "Absolutely. Come forth, what they did to him was horrific and wrong. He should reclaim his life, seek mental help, get compensation, and rise like a phoenix." Despite them, broke my heart to see the damage they caused. That young man, another viewer, added, "Jaguar has bigger balls than half the men who ruled the world unchecked. All the parents who sold their child's soul for fame, they are going to reap every bit of what they sowed." Now, I want to hear from you. What is your take on Jaguar handing over those tapes of Bryce Gray to prosecutors? Do you think he will show up in court and finally speak his truth, or will the pressure keep him silent? Drop your thoughts down below in the comments. Smash that like button, subscribe for more explosive updates, and hit that bell so you never miss when we expose the next chapter in this twisted saga. And if you thought this was crazy, click right here to watch another messy video, because trust me, it's just getting started.